Well, hello there, everyone. Thank you for dropping in, anyone who's here yet. I know it's a little later than I normally start. I meant to start earlier, but it seems my alarms eluded me this morning because I woke up about 20 minutes before the stream was supposed to start, and I'm just not one of those people that can get going right away. Hello. I am doing pretty well. Just trying to pump myself up with caffeine and wake up a little bit. How are the two of you? I'm about to add some new plants I made so that we can put them in the jungle. Hello there. How are all of you today? Go. So I made these plants a couple days ago for the jungle. I did. Yeah, last time I completely forgot. Or, maybe I just wanted to give Islanders something to do. I don't want him to be bored, This is always my favorite day of the week, too. I love doing the streams. Not fun. I know the feeling. Hopefully the stress lets up a little bit. This will only take a moment to get these ready. What do you have to do? Anything you can put off? Look at me being a fantastic influence. What was... I don't remember what master material I was using. I think it was this one. No, never mind. And we're also going to do something a little bit different on this stream today. A little bit of optimization work. And thank you. I love working on the game, so I have been looking forward to this. So these are the plants that I made. Just need to fix up the wind and all that on them. Ooh, that does not sound fun. I have the same problem though. Lots of school this week. Reduce this just a little bit. There we go. 1 megabyte of video memory. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. I made it probably 3 or 4 times before I was happy with it. I'm very picky about the way my plants look. And yes, it is new ground foliage. I've been working on changing the ground foliage in the jungle a little bit. And I have this specific vision in mind that I haven't been able to get just yet, and I think this will help me get there. So right now what we're doing, we're removing collisions from this plant because it does not need collisions. Now, just need to work on the wind function for it a little bit because it looks a little weird right now. I'm gonna drop them in here so we can see it. See, that does not look right. So, we're gonna fix that. So first thing we want to do, this is a optimization thing. When you're using Lumen, which we won't be forcing by the way, but I've done my best to make it run for as many machines as possible, so a surprising amount of people will be able to use it if they want to. Lumen is ray tracing. So, when there are reflections that are reflective enough that it would actually be able to display a reflection in it, it could be pretty costly on performance. So you don't want a bunch of leaves, for example, doing that. Looks like luckily these are good. As you see here, most of the leaves I've already gone through and set how much I want it to reflect. The green that you see there is the amount that actually has dedicated reflections. So these are good, like I planned. Just need to tweak the wind a little bit. Perhaps slightly lower intensity. Now we'll turn it up just so we can see. Not a huge fan of this. I think what we'll do let's try this out. Okay, so that wind will be better. We just need to tweak how it looks a little bit. And can everyone hear me okay? Everything good with the volume and everything? I'm also looking forward to release. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. See how low we need to set this. I guess we could just set this to use the same as the jungle. That might be the best option. Let's see what the other plants are doing. MW Foliage Master. Always takes a little bit to get the wind and everything looking nice. But we need a little bit more variation. I'm curious if this will look any good if I do this. If there's more to do, I'll do it later. well enough. Need to fix the wind. A little more reflective. Not quite that reflective. Curious what this looks like. And these also don't need to have a two-sided material because they already have double-sided geometry. There we go. Much better on the wind. Now we just need it less reflective and it'll be good to go. As you can see, it's still a little bit too much. There we go. So that still looks pretty decent and costs a lot less in performance because it's not so reflective. Not bad, not bad. And I apologize if you hear anything weird in the background today. My kids are currently running around with flutes. As you do. Now our source control just signed me out because it's been too long since the last sign in, so give me just a second. And there we are. Good stuff. Alright, so now we can actually get to work. There is a specific plant I was looking at replacing, probably this one, because I'm just not a fan of how it looks. It's not very good looking. So we need to replace that. I believe that's the, yes, bindweed. And I actually added uh, 4 new plants last night to the jungle, like ground foliage. That, for the moment, I'm just replacing some of the plants, so we won't be using all of the ones I just brought in, but over time we'll make some changes. I think there's a little bit too much grass and not enough of the thicker looking plants, if that makes sense. Larger leaves. When I think jungle, I think of that, so that is what I want to see. Let's see, they should be out here somewhere. Oh yes. I work on the game every single day. I think they might be a little further in here. Same here. It looks much better now that it's more dense like this. Might be in the border plants. Or not. Forest plants, perhaps? Ah, yes. I think that's where it is. There are some, but we do need more. Ferns are one of those things I'm really picky about. So it takes me a while to pick some that I think look good. Let's see, where are they? I will find you. Maybe let's make sure that we're editing the right list of plants. Yes, I agree. I love it. I also want to make it where it's a little bit dangerous walking in some parts. Um, Dense enough that you can't really see very far. Let's see. That would be it. Exactly. It's good and bad. Bad in a fun way. I agree. Every time I look up pictures of jungles to compare against, I love how dense it is. Okay, we can keep that. So I think there's actually not that many plants in this one. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're gonna add a few. Because I don't necessarily think we should cut down the density of the grass, but that the grass is a little bit too prominent. We're going to use 3 different variations, and because they're all using the exact same material, it actually doesn't cost any more in performance. Let's see if we can find them. I want to actually see them out in the jungle. Plus, it's just fun looking around in the jungle. I probably will make areas like that. I think of that too. Let's move to a different area and see. And I'm also going to tweak how the ground looks a little bit today because it's been a hard one to pick a good ground material for the jungle. I'm going to a spot that has different material. Flying through the trees, very normal. Also made a bit of progress on the river here, as you see. Did some work, I think the day after the last stream. We've got some little paths I started working on. Things like that. Okay, this is where we should find the new plants. Yes, there is a bridge now. There we go. So there's one of the new ones. However, I'm not seeing any wind movement. Did I accidentally leave that turned off? Oh, there we go. I see it. I think it's just turned down a little bit too low. Yeah, there we go. So I'll turn that up a little bit. But otherwise, those are good to go. Ooh, yeah, that would be pretty cool. And I plan to add a lot more vines, things like that. I think it would look really nice. Just a little bit too... Oh, there we go. So it's a little bit too slow right now. There we go. That's better. I just wanted a subtle movement because I don't think big leaves like that would be blowing around really intensely. I just discovered my voice is putting someone to sleep. I'm gonna say it's a good thing. It means it's relaxing. Alright, so now we'll actually continue on the work. First off, need to rebuild virtual textures so that we don't have a black landscape in the background. Perfect. But yeah, I think this river will be plenty deep enough for those who are aquatic. And there we are. Sorry about that. My dogs got a little excited. Somebody came to the door. Okay. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to smooth out this landscape a little bit, add some rocks along this pathway. I want the this end of the river here to be a little bit more accessible. Let's see, we might use some of these. Maybe not that one. This might work. Oops. Let's see how it looks. Basically what I'm trying to do, I want to... Oh, I completely missed that message. I actually just recently reworked the mangroves, so they are good enough to go. They're not perfect yet, but I would say they're pretty good. I'm glad it's a relaxing time of the week for you. Everybody needs to have a nice little time to just sit back and chill for a while. Life is a little too stressful sometimes. I want to find some good rocks to use here. You already know, I'm very picky about rocks, for reasons. I don't believe that function is there yet, but the collisions for the trees themselves support it. A good portion of the map, probably at least a third of it. Up to half. It's a pretty large map, so I think you'll be pleased with the amount that you'll be able to look at. Try this out too. Yeah, let's try these out. This area should be open, as far as I know. You know, these just aren't doing it for me. I think we'll stick to the ones that are already themed for this area. In which case, I might just paint them on. Let me see if I can get that to look good. Yeah, I'd like for this area to be open. So I'm hoping so. Need to make this a little bit more dense. We'll touch this up. I just want to see how this looks. Yeah, my goal is, for performance reasons, to reuse at least the same material for rocks all over the place, because it makes it much faster to render, which is very good. But we need a little bit more density on this. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I'm going to make it a little bit more dense, though. It's not quite what I was looking for. I think I'll have a lot of fun playing as a baby dino. It's going to be awesome. I don't know if anyone here is old enough that you might have played this, but I think there are at least some people here about my age. There's this old Jurassic Park, Lost World Jurassic Park game from PS1, and you could play Compsognathus, all kinds of things. It was awesome. I've always wanted to... I don't even think this would be really very possible. At least not easily. But I've always wanted to remake that game in Unreal Engine. It would be awesome. But I think it would be a little difficult to get a hold of all those old models, and then we'd of course have copyright issues when they were released. Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Sega Genesis. I don't know, you might be about the same age as me. I'm 32. See that? I actually had to think for a moment before I said it. It'll happen to you too, one day. Anyone watching. Here we go. Yeah, I think I'm just going to place these manually. Sometimes I just can't get the result that I want without doing this. Oh no, it's not going to be the same over the whole landscape. I've done part of that area. It's more of a prototype than anything right now, but I will make sure to show it off in the stream so you can see it. So I need these. These are the last ones I'll use. Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing with it. Right now, like I said, it's still just a concept more than anything, but right now I have it probably pretty equal distribution of normal landscape along with trees and all that. I agree. That's why I constantly use these rocks. I love the vegetation on them. Yes. We need cool rocks. Telling you, rocks are more important than I used to think. They can really change how a scene looks. In fact, I think this is one of the bald rocks. Let's see. No, that's acceptable. Kind of bald, but it's acceptable. Makes more sense anyways for being under the other rocks. So, I just want to say, because I remember I mentioned it when I first started doing the streams, that I was excited because I got my own real life coast redwood and giant sequoia trees. I just want to say that they are still alive. I didn't think I would make it this far. And they're thriving. Perfect. So what I'm gonna do we can basically pack all of these rocks into one actor. And then repeat it, which is good for performance. They have not been scanned into the game because it's very difficult to scan thin leaves. So I'm having to do it a little bit differently than I first imagined, but I have scanned the trunks of them already. It's mainly the leaves that I'm working on. But they are much bigger now, so it's very helpful. It is rewarding. I never thought I really wanted to grow plants because I didn't think I'd be any good at it. But it actually is really rewarding. So what we did, we basically, like I was saying, we packed all of these into one actor, basically, which will make it run quite a bit better. Especially when you're reusing the same ones. So, and we limit the distance that the wind effect happens on the plants. Perfect. Don't be surprised if it disappears in a moment. Making sure this is all as it should be. There we go. So now we can take this one actor and repeat it. And as long as we mix it up relatively well, it won't be too obvious that it's being repeated. Which saves performance and time. My favorite combination. You know, I know this is a dumb thing to say, but I have never considered the fact that cactuses would have roots, and now I want to see what they look like. I just never really thought about it. But yes, my coast redwood specifically has been loving the weather we've had recently with fog and rain. It loves as much water as it can get. Go. Actually, let's start that over. In fact, we might even make a new actor for that side because it's going to need to look a little bit different. Yeah, I wondered. They just never really thought about how they would look. But I guess they would just look like any other. Further down here. I also realized that I don't have anything scattering on these paths. So we're going to add that today too. Like, there are no scattered rocks or anything. It's all just material. Which is definitely not how I normally do things. Just need to fill in some gaps. Here we go. Getting there. Getting there. I'm just so picky about rocks. I can't help it. But when you go to the jungle, you expect to see a ton of huge mossy rocks. Or at least that's what I think of. I was gonna say though, I got to mention it. The roots on the coast redwood are ridiculous. Like, they will grow incredibly fast and go all over the place, so they have to be pruned a little more often than others. I don't currently have an area that's more dense yet, but I'm planning to add one. In fact, we might even do a little bit of that today. We'll see. A lot of times I have so many things I want to do that I run out of time before I can do them all. But I hope to be working on the game full time in the near future, so if that happens, I have a feeling we're going to be stretching out these streams a little bit longer. Now I'm going to put something different down at the end there. So we'll just pack these together. I agree. It would be a dream come true. I could seriously sit here all day, every day, working on the game, and I would never get tired of it. That is how much I love it. Now we'll add a couple of mega scans right here because I want something a little bit different down at the end. I'm thinking something like this, maybe. Yes, it is an Unreal 5. But we're also paying a lot more attention to performance than you've seen with a lot of other games. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm glad to hear it. I think you'll like it. And of course, we'll have the tech demo in case you'd like to make sure it runs well for you and everything. Obviously won't be flawless in the tech demo, but it will be good. Not quite what I wanted. That looks pretty solid. I don't know. I think that's right. I'm really not sure what they were going for with graphics, but I don't think they're using any of the same systems we do. Just from quickly looking at it, I don't know the specifics of what they've done. But as far as I know, they're not using nanite. I don't know about lumen, but I don't think they are. And sometimes that's a good thing because, and I'm not blaming developers specifically, but documentation is not very good for Unreal Engine. So a lot of times people will enable things like nanite and lumen and not really know how to use them very well, which causes the problems you'll hear about a lot with Unreal. Bad frame rates, that kind of thing. So it's not entirely on the developer, since a lot of that is just because the information just isn't easily available. However, we have a very talented team, and everyone that's working on their respective parts of the game knows quite a bit about how it works. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at how well it runs. Yeah, if they're not using nanite, that's going to be a big part of not looking as good, because they are restricted to using lower poly count meshes, models. When with nanite, you actually want to do the opposite. You don't want to use low poly or it will run worse. Lumen, of course, changes how things look a lot because ray tracing. And from what I see, this is just me taking a guess because I don't know their development process, but it looks like they're using masked foliage, which is just foliage models that have these flat, plain cards with a texture on them. And if that's the case, those also won't look quite as good in most cases. Gotta love that bug, how it just disappears. Truly wonderful. Looks like I do need to clear out a couple of plants that are in the wrong spot. Not sure how that happened. Now that I think about it, probably a good idea to check inside of these rocks, because that can also happen. But yeah, I'm pretty big on having high quality foliage, so you're gonna see a lot of that here. That I'm not sure of. That would be more of a question for either Islander or one of our programmers. As time goes on, I'll probably have more answers to things like that, because while I don't handle those systems, I do implement my part of it on the map. You know what? I think this jungle portion up here actually is more dense. Let me take a look. Oh yes, there you go. More dense area, but I'm actually not real happy with it as it is, so it'll be changing. You know though, I do want to do something while I'm here. I know there will be forms of building. I'm not certain what all exactly you'll be able to build. But there will be building. I just don't know if you'll be building villages specifically, but as far as I know, that was a plan. Oh yes, I agree. Now, why is this? Maybe I have it tied to the same setting. Let me take a look at this real quick. Forest. Oh yeah. What do you know? So we're gonna fix that. This will just take a moment. The man himself, Islander. I'm pretty sure you'll also see some more work from Islander in the future too, on the map. That's what I thought. I didn't want to say it in case I was wrong, but That's what I thought. Oftentimes I'm so focused on the map that I don't have as many answers for the rest. No, let's do something real quick. Now I see why I wasn't using that. Actually, let's take a look. See if this breaks anything. Drop a little memory usage, hopefully. Yes, we do know how big the map will be. Right now it's 64 square kilometers in total, which does include under the ocean. And there are several different biomes. All of the biomes are placed on the map right now, but just aren't necessarily far along in terms of how they look. But at least a few of them are further along. Let's give this a moment. The thing I need to see is if switching the texture I just did to virtual textures is going to break anything with the appearance of the landscape, so we're about to find out. But that'll give me a little more control over foliage in this part of the jungle. If you're getting some buffering, I apologize. It's compiling shaders so it can run a little slow when this happens. Shouldn't be much longer. When we make big changes like this to the landscape, it can take a moment to apply. As you probably saw, it's a pretty complex landscape material, so Takes a little time for the updates to happen. While we're waiting, I will share the giant sequoia and the coast redwood in the Discord, so you have something to look at for a moment while this finishes. I swear, if I'm getting sick again, I'm going to be so upset. But I feel it. But unless I lose my voice, I'll still be streaming. Maybe I should get like a little AI companion that can talk for me for the times I get sick and lose my voice. Because I don't want to stop streaming. Alright, almost done. Oh yes, my not-so-giant sequoia. They're about 2.5 to 3 feet tall right now, somewhere around there. Oh, now we can finally see if it's working out the way I want it to. Looks like it did. Double check out here. Excellent. I was hoping I could do that. That'll save a little performance. Okay, so now we can change how dense the ground foliage is in that area, which will be great. Definitely need to make the trees less dense, but I think I'll leave some portions like this because I kind of like it. Let's see, what section of landscape is this? D. go. Fix that. Variation. Ah, there we are. Let's see. Excellent. It worked. So now we can adjust the ground foliage density a little bit. Perfect. Now I think we just need to cut down the density of these roots on the ground because that's not really ideal. In fact, we're going to try a slightly different pattern, see how it looks. It's a lot of experimentation when you're doing this kind of thing. Not quite what I was looking for. So I think we'll set these back to how they were without the virtual texture because it seems to be causing some issues. Understandable. Red. Let's try blue. These different channels can of the texture can make it to where the foliage follows different patterns. So that's what we're trying out right now. Always gotta love waiting on the shaders. So while that's going on, we can go ahead and look for a new material for the jungle floor in the part that we were in earlier. Might be a good idea to take a look here. So what I'm thinking is something a little bit darker than what we had. That might work, but I'm going to wait a moment. Possibly. Yeah, I think we're going to try out one of... Maybe this will look good. I'll grab it and we'll give it a shot. We'll grab these three. There we go. Still waiting on shaders. That is why I figured it would be a good time to look for a new material. Let's see. Ah. We're going to try these out and see how it looks. It looks like I may have already downloaded this one. Just didn't remember. Okay. So let's take a look and see how they look. I'm really not sure about this one, but we'll try it first. Sometimes it doesn't turn out quite like what I thought it would. Let's just see if... Okay, the shaders for this are done, so we can see how this looks. There are a few issues here I see. This might be something I have to mess around with more later on. Let's make it extremely dense and just see. Yeah, I think for now we'll put it back to how we had it. Without control. So I can go back and experiment with it more a little bit later. It's pretty early my time. Well, not really early, I guess. It's 11:40. Do this one more time. Yeah, I like this. Ah, okay. Now I see why I'm not seeing what I was wanting. So this is the more dense area. Okay. Getting somewhere. I do want to remove a couple things, though. I agree. I like this. Of course, I'll have some areas that are more or less dense, but There are these jungle ferns. I'm not a huge... Well, they're called ferns. They don't really look like ferns. But I'm not a huge fan of them, so I'm getting rid of some of them. Yeah, this is more like what I was looking for. Okay, so now let's go ahead and try out that new material, see how it looks. I suspect this one's not going to look that good, so don't be surprised. I'm not sure about that material. It doesn't look very good. And I agree. I'm a big fan of light rays coming through the trees, so you will see plenty of that. I agree. It's important to me to have that jungle canopy feeling. That to me is what makes it feel like a jungle. That's not so great either. See, it's been difficult to pick what to use here. Now that could work. Maybe. That's not bad. We'll still try out some others just in case. Not a huge fan of that one. Now you see why it's so difficult. I guess we'll set it back to what it was for now, but let's try and make some changes to make that look better. So for one, there's too much tiling there, so I need to fix that. It's also a little bit too bright, so we'll fix that too. Work. Okay, now let's give it some better tiling. There we go. Let me double check, make sure I'm using this the same way as I did in the other layers. I have to see which ones I've used it in. Ah, yes, there it is. Okay, so that is what we'll do. In fact, it looks like I still need to implement it for most of the layers, so we can fix that right now. So this will make it to where the tiling isn't as obvious on the ground. Once it finishes compiling shaders, that is. There we go. So we'll zoom out a little bit. And now that mixes it up a little bit. I'll probably still do some tweaking to it, but it causes less tiling, which is quite a bit better. It's just not exactly what I was looking for yet, so it won't be perfect. Yet. So now we can add it to each one of these. Yeah, we've got a few landscape layers. Okay. There is another method I'm looking into to do this same thing but even better. So I'll probably be implementing that soon. But this will do it in the meantime. Pretty soon it'll be time to end the stream, but we're going to get a little bit more done first. Almost done. Oops. The things we do for good looks. But tiling is ugly, so we need to not have it. Okay. Now we can see how that turned out. It was a little confusing at first. Just took a while of using Unreal daily, and before you know it, all is well. Okay, I applied it to all of the layers, and that does help. I'll definitely be improving it though, because it's not quite where I want it, but it helps. Overall though, it's an improvement. I'll take it. So the last thing we should do... Should have kept the material open. I don't know what I was thinking. We need some variation on this path of little rocks, things like that. Ground path. Think. Might be stones. Okay, yeah, we had the right one. Don't think I have it hooked up yet. Okay. I always remember what order I plugged these in. Need to make sure I'm referencing the right place. Okay, dirt path. Now we just need to pick a procedural layer to put there. We'll copy this one. So now we just have to pick which rocks we want to pop up here. I use this material in a few different places, so we don't really want anything that's too themed to a specific biome. We'll just find some kind of generic small rocks. So it is a mossy path, so maybe these will do it. I just like a little more variation. I guess we could use them as placeholders if we want to. Go. Now let's take a look at a few things we could scatter on those paths. Do it. That's a pretty decent fit, I think. We just don't want it to be the same rock repeated all over the place. That's boring. And we don't do boring. That's not quite what we're looking for. I think that'll work So we'll use these three. Probably just gonna... Let me see what the collision looks like for these. I don't want it to be annoying to walk over. We'll kind of smooth it out a little. So I think that'll do it, where that one's not annoying to walk on. It'll make your feet clip through the ground a little bit, but worth it to not have a really annoying surface. Oh, this one doesn't have collision at all. Actually, I think I'll leave it that way too. Okay, so now we can add them. So now what we're doing is we're making it have a little variation in the size that it'll scatter around, so it's not the same size everywhere. So let's see how this looks. Might not be good right away. Probably not dense enough. Or it's me being dense. Forgot to apply it. After we make sure this looks good, we'll stop the stream for the day, but I want to make sure this comes out alright. I'm sure we'll have to tweak the density a little bit. That's not ideal. We'll have to clear out some of these plants that aren't supposed to be here. I also realized I just left some of these here. Don't want that. No volcanic rocks here. You're right, you're right. Maybe by removing the trees, I'm actually making it less realistic. But you know what? These things happen. Oh, two of them inside of each other. Wonderful. Okay. So let's tweak the density a little bit. And after that, we're good to go. Because I'm not seeing them right now. Well, there are some right here. Don't seem to be underground. That is some of our game music, the menu music. Accurate. It's wonderful music. Okay. There we go. So let's tweak that a little bit. I was also curious about the same thing. I like it. Okay, so this will definitely take some tweaking. I'll probably do that later on. It's not quite where I want it yet. But overall, we made some good progress today on making the jungle a bit nicer. A lot of this is smaller detail work, which is pretty time-consuming, but hopefully you still enjoyed. And... no, the mangroves are here. I'm still not fully satisfied with the leaves, but they are less bright, so it's better. But I think it'll take a little tweaking before it's fully where I want it. Oh yes, I would never let them steal them. Don't you worry. We can all go after them together. But alright, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here so I can get some lunch. But thank you all for dropping in and watching. I'll be back next week, most likely at 9:30 my time, which is, I started this at about 10. But again, thank you all for dropping in, and I hope you all have a great day.